as a non-profit leader, this is what the leadership should be doing. Our thinking should be differentiated now. The scenario in the past required a different mindset, right? A different skill set, a different approach set to what we are now looking at. A bit more trade, a bit more impact. We've moved from charity to impact. So what it also means is that there should be a shift in strategy. That's the first place. The other thing is that people are now thinking more about sustainability. How would my investment, right? We've seen people who donors now calling grants investments. They are not calling it grants again because it sends a different connotation, right? Grants, I'm giving you a grant. The approach is different. Now they are saying this investment, and anybody that goes into the space of investment, you are looking forward to a return. You're looking forward to, so what's the return? What will you learn? Where's the data? What's the evidence to show that there's a return, right? Where is the impact? At what scale? So, and that is what non-profit leaders should be thinking about, how they frame their narratives right now, is showing, using evidence, right? That's one thing that's the burden of the sector right now. Your work needs to show evidence. Is it moving the needle? Is it contributing to the results? So like I said earlier on, you need to change your strategy. The strategy for grants will not work for impact investments. 2, you need to be able to quantify impact. You need to say, if you put this in, you get this out. The return could be in the number of lives saved, and something really granular that can be measured. That's the other thing, And so this requires you to also, as a non-profit leader in this part of the world, to build, capacity to manage, to collect, manage, store, and analyze data, right? Then there are other existential factors that are affecting markets in Africa, which is the fact that we have a huge, at the moment, there's this data, there's a lot of data, So you need to look at how are you using the data that is available to influence the outcome of your investments. Then, of course, you also need to have a clean house. That's what I would say. You need to invest in governance structures that builds trust on investors. You can give a grant to one person to run around and buy things and give up, but when you are now doing investments, that means there's a risk, financial risk. So you need to establish structures as a non-profit leader, that governance systems that would manage resources that are allocated, then of course build the financial architecture to be able to report on the investments that have been made. So these are some of the shifts in terms of how non-profit leaders should approach the current kind of landscape. Data, use of evidence, use of establishing clear governance structure, having a clear strategy. Think about sustainability. Sustainability is not just in and out. Sustainability is what is the likelihood of achieving scale. How would this work, this investment achieve scale? So what I've seen in my experience is that I see some clients now, because we need to also change to the language of the sector. We don't call them now donors again. People, why are you saying clients? Yes, they are clients, because you treat your client differently from how you see a donor, because a client needs to be managed. So you need to think about, okay, this is my client. What's the interest of this client? How do you communicate with this client? And I tell people too, it's not also about storytelling, because sometimes people, non-profit sector, feel just tell the story nicely. It's about long-term impact, I would say.